It's a great time for Smart Money Moves. Today, we're exploring government resources that help homeowners keep their homes and help home buyers prepare to buy a home that they will love forever. That's coming up right now on Smart Money Moves. I'm Marcia Griffin, and I am happy to welcome you to Smart Money Moves, Building Wealth for Everyday People. Everyone wants a nice, comfortable, peaceful place to live, and it is important that you get the right information to make the best decisions for yourself and for your family. There are many government programs that help people stay in their homes during difficult times and help new home buyers prepare to purchase their first or second homes. Joining us today with great government resources are David Berenbaum, Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Office of Housing Counseling, and Linda Jackson, Executive Director of the Inland Empire Resource Center. I'd like to welcome you both to Smart Money Moves.
It's wonderful to be on the show.
Thank you so much. And David, I will start with you.
Okay.
And look, just tell our audience, tell our viewers, what role did COVID-19 play in people not being able to pay their rent or homeowners needing relief with their mortgages? We know, we've heard a lot about this. Talk to us about the impact that COVID-19 has had on people.
Marcia, I think everyone has been touched by the health emergency and COVID. Whether it's our own households or our family and friends, this has impacted so many lives. It's not simply an issue of looking to how it's affected families with regard to financial health. Truly, from our perspective at HUD, we have been working extremely diligently with other federal offices and state and localities to also ensure not just financial security, but housing security for all of the population that has been impacted here. And as you noted, I'm looking forward to exploring many of our initiatives that are designed to really help people work through these challenges, not just for home ownership, but also for rental situations.
Absolutely. Without question, where we live, having a roof over our heads, whether it's something that you're renting or something that you own. I mean, this is critical for our emotional stability, let alone our financial stability. But another question for you, David. What has been the effect of the pandemic and the financial crisis, if you will? What has been the effect on people of color?
This is a very important issue, and HUD Secretary Fudge and other leaders at HUD have spoken quite strongly to the importance of racial equity in housing, but there's an area of convergence here with issues in our society with health equity as well. And we are working at HUD to ensure that all of our programming are available to populations that have been significantly impacted by COVID. A number of studies have really documented the fact that not only financially has there been a disparate impact on communities of color, whether it be Black, Latinx, Asian Pan-Pacific, or other groups, indigenous groups. In fact, the reality is also that it's disproportionately impacted with regard to housing situations as well. And we're continuing to do everything in our power to ensure within all federal programs, FHA, in our multifamily housing programs and initiatives, that we ensure housing security and stability, both for tenants who are residents of these complexes, as well as for those who have FHA loan products.
Well, that impacts a lot of people. Linda, let me get to you because I know you are working with home buyers, homeowners every day. Tell us a little bit about your work and its impact on the families that you serve.
Well, it has been a tremendous impact on the families that we serve. We serve low to moderate income. And to really talk about how that affects the family, it affects them at the core. It affects the father who feels like they can't take care of their children, their wives, their household. When the pandemic hit, most people of color who were in they were low to moderate income, they were already affected before the pandemic even got here. I mean, our incomes were low already, as you and I know, being women of color. And so our income went to no income. So it was low income to no income, is what I say. And it's so important for people who are going through such a crisis. They don't know what to do, they don't know where to turn, they don't even know there are resources like the resource that I have, the Inland Empire Resource Center. And more importantly, what I find that I must do is that I must raise the awareness that there is help. But first, I got to meet them where they are and get them where they need to be.
So, Linda, tell us very quickly, what type of help do you actually provide to home buyers, people who want to buy a home? They are employed, they've decided that they want to buy. Tell us what you actually do for home buyers and also for homeowners who are just a little bit concerned about their mortgages. Some people were on forbearances. Now things I think are getting a lot better. Tell us a little bit more, though, about your specific work with these two groups.
The first group is to educate. When they want to buy a home, the first thing we must do is to educate. And our education is on a platform where you can go in your pajamas, you can go late at night, you can go early in the morning. So you can get that education right now. Down payment assistance is important, but you must have a certificate to state that you understand what down payment assistance is and what is going to take to really look for the stability is what I look for the homeowners. And you said to be really quick, so I also wanted to talk about people who are already in a home, people who are in a a forbearance, but they didn't know what to do, or they didn't know what would happen to them once they came out of the forbearance. Right now, I've never seen this in my entire career because I've never seen a pandemic. It was a mortgage crisis in '08, but today it's a life or death crisis. So the waterfalls right now that we have, oh my God, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like mortgage relief, mortgage assistance to help you. We had a pilot program right here in our city in Fontana, and that we got mortgage assistance working with my mayor here. She got my clients mortgage assistance, and then there's a thing called the flex mod, and the flex mod means you don't have to have any documentation. So you get the mortgage assistance at one right here, and plus you're not ready for the documentation because maybe your job is not where it needs to be. All of those different things that we had to do in 2008 when we had a mortgage crisis. And so working with the servicers and working with your local government here in my own city, it is valuable. So I've really been very successful. And I want to say this real quick, working in the churches. And the churches have been my foundation where to help the people and actually meet them where they are and get them to where they need to be has been a tremendous help in what I do.
Well, look, it's important that everyone understand that Linda is what's called a housing counseling organization, and her organization and many others are in some cases funded by HUD and are there to provide the information, the education, the inspiration, and the guidance to home buyers and homeowners who don't want to make a mistake. Maybe homeowners who perhaps don't or don't feel comfortable speaking to their servicer. So organizations like lenders and the ones that David sort of oversees around the country can provide the answers that we all need to prosper. We all want to do well. David, let me just get back to you for a minute. Do you also provide resources to renters, or is it just to home buyers and homeowners? I know HUD is doing a lot, so just talk to us for a minute about what you do for renters.
Absolutely. And I'm going to touch on a few issues here that I think have emerged. And Linda's organization is a wonderful representative of over 1,650 HUD approved organizations that are not for profit organizations that are ready and able to provide assistance over the telephone, via virtual meetings, or in face-to-face situations to both tenants as well as homeowners, whether you be thinking about buying a home or struggling to sustain your current housing situation. I just want to note how easy it is to find a counseling organization and a HUD certified housing counselor, someone who has been trained as a professional, who is empathetic and caring, and will be a trusted advisor to you. It's as simple as going to the HUD website at www.hud.gov/find a counselor and just do a search in your own community. There's also a telephonic line that you can use as well that you'll see on the website as well. There is quite a bit of assistance available today, and we're working to get the word out there. In interviews with consumers, we're finding that despite our best efforts, so many people are unaware, whether they be a resident in a rental situation, an apartment complex, or a private home, or they own their home, they're not aware that significant programs have been passed and are being funded by the Department of Treasury in collaboration with HUD and other offices in the federal government. The most significant one for homeowners is the American Rescue Plan's component called the Homeowner Assistance Fund. Now, the purpose of that fund is very straightforward. It is very easy to apply to your state and locality who are participating and simply say, I've been impacted, financially impacted by the pandemic, and I need help for my mortgage. Could be for your property insurance. It could be for your taxes or other areas that you're struggling with right now. That, and when you speak with your servicer, they should be willing to work with you and give you a forbearance or a loan modification. For tenants, there's an equally important program, again, funded by Treasury to states and localities, majority of whom are overwhelmingly participating, to provide rental assistance if you are in arrears. And that's the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Again, if in fact you have any concerns, and I know trust is a major factor. Many
Absolutely.
consumers do not trust their servicer. They do not trust, unfortunately, their landlord or management company. That's where working with a trusted advisor, such as a HUD-approved housing counselor across the nation, can really help you understand these programs, help you complete the forms, and apply for the assistance you need.
Let's say a home buyer who is in the process, they're having a little bit of difficulty, and could that home buyer who is already in the process work with a counseling organization who would also work with their lender to make sure that they're getting the very best deal, that that everything that they need, particularly down payment and closing cost money. I mean, a lot of people need that. But can the two, the lender and the counseling organization, work together?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, many counseling organizations have very strong working relationships with mortgage originators and mortgage servicers. And they
Good.
are designed to expedite situations where they should have a second look, perhaps, or perhaps there's a discussion about what is the best loan product to ensure sustainable home ownership. Or if in fact it's an area where a bank may have products that are designed to really expand home ownership in particular communities like low to moderate income communities under the Community Reinvestment Act. All of this can be discussed to ensure that the homeowner has the best mortgage if they're becoming a homeowner, or they ensure the sustainability of their housing situation if they're struggling with their mortgage.
Great. So look, Linda, let me just ask you, do you also help home owners? And if so, tell me the correlation between what you do for homeowners, and hopefully you're able to give them a modification if they need so. But just talk for a minute about what you do for homeowners.
So for homeowners, boy, the first thing I tell a homeowner, if you could get it past me, what the real problem is your hardship. That is the key. It's your narrative that is the key in getting you a successful outcome. If you could get it past me, I could get it past the lender. The banks have said, the banks, not me, 80% of the people who see our organization, they get the help. So we are connected. I am so connected to what you go through when I lost my husband and what I was going through as he was sick and he was dying. And, I just needed so much help. I needed somebody to understand what I was going through, if that makes sense. If you're connected and you're not doing it because it's a job, but it is a labor of love to get them out of that crisis. They're up at night, they can't sleep. The father, he can't. I'm telling you, the kids are going through the crisis. It's a total crisis, not with just one person, but the entire family. So my job is to get them to that end result that they're looking for. They don't want to leave their home. And here's the biggest thing that I find out. They don't have nowhere else to go. They're not prepared for a soft landing. Where are you
Yeah.
going to take them? So that's so huge. You got to think about the whole problem. And today, Marcia, it is more serious than ever. Suicide is at an all-time rate because people cannot get the help that they need and they don't know where to go. So if I have to stand on the rooftop to say, here I am to help you, people know that if you need help, you call her. She's going to help you. So I hope that answered your question. It's just that we're connected. I have to be so connected, and you cannot jive me about what's going on. If that makes sense, I hope that does.
Well, look, the main thing, as David said, and I'm going to turn back over to you, David, for a minute, but David did indicate, fortunately, there are 1,600 plus housing counseling organizations that were created to help renters, home buyers largely, and homeowners to move ahead, to work through whatever issues one has. Look, everyone's talking about increasing homeownership. We know that there's a housing supply issue. In your opinion, in order to increase home ownership, what do home buyers need to do?
Yeah, you see it. We are facing a housing shortage of mass proportions. And at the same time, we are committed to expanding homeownership among Black and Latino and other groups to address the homeownership gap that has been in our society for far too long.
Right.
HUD is really working to develop innovative programs and to look at existing programs to ensure that we do more with programs that are more flexible, that offer down payment assistance, that involve housing counseling and coaching, as we have been talking about. And I'm extremely, extremely optimistic that whereas this year we've touched 1.2 million households through our housing counseling program, next year we're going to greatly exceed that. I do want to make one other point that I think is critically important. If any of our viewers are struggling with, in fact, their mortgage right now, you are one phone call away. Whether you call an FHA mortgage servicer, a Fannie or Freddie servicer, or in fact a housing counseling organization, It is a very easy process to request a forbearance or a modification to protect your home and, in fact, so many other aspects of your quality of life. Please do it. And also, please be very careful. Once again, as during the financial crisis, there are a growing number of scams out there that are looking to take
Absolutely.
advantage of consumers. But on the pre-purchase side, on the positive side, or even if you're an elder thinking about a reverse mortgage, housing counseling organizations and their professional counselors are available. Again, it's hud.gov//find a counselor. And if you are struggling with your mortgage or your rent, they are not going to charge. These services are free and they are paid for by other sources, including the federal government. So please, I urge everyone to take advantage of it. And in fact, if you have a little bit of a credit blemish, I'll add, the counseling groups will work with you to ensure that you work towards getting a good loan at a good rate and correct those issues to overcome the challenge. So many people think my credit is bad or I don't have a large enough down payment to become a homeowner. And as we know, Marcia, as we all know in the counseling community, in fact, that's not true. And we're so delighted every time we see someone get those keys after a settlement.
Absolutely. First of all, look, tell us, what does FHA mean?
Federal Housing Administration, and it's a
And what do they do?
government insured loan program, and it insures mortgages that are originated in the private sector. And in fact, the wonderful aspect of the FHA loan program is that it's focused in on ensuring access to credit to groups that are underserved. And in fact, if we look at the portfolio of FHA, it is to a very large extent African American, Latino, low to moderate income, and it has been a gateway to home ownership for many, many people. It's a very important part of our financial services system, and I'm delighted that we work closely with the Office of Single Family Housing and, in fact, the FHA loan program to ensure liquidity and that it operates in a safe and sound manner.
Well, look, this is great because many, many people have never heard of a housing counseling organization, a HUD approved organization. And I think what you're saying, David, is that HUD certifies that many of these organizations are honest. They know what they're talking about, and they are organizations that can be trusted. Look, there's just a lot to be said here. We're almost at a close, and I want to ask both of you this question. And Linda, I'm going to start with you. What would you like our viewers to remember about your work and their lives?
I would like them to know that raising the awareness is something that they really need. You know, people perish because they don't have the knowledge. So it's the lack of knowledge. And I want them to know, coming to a HUD approved agency, we can educate them on what services that are available to meet their need. My whole thing is to raise awareness, meet the people exactly where they are. And then my job is to get them to where they ultimately want to be. So that's what I want to leave with the people. Get the information. Information is key. So you get that if you're a renter, if you're a homeowner, a first-time home buyer. It's key. Get educated on what's out there for you. And we are a resource. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're never too old, and it's never too late. We're going to end with you, David. Tell us what you want our viewers to remember.
Wow. You know, the Smart Money Moves audience, I have two recommendations. One, go out there, look on the web for information about home ownership, real estate, housing finance professionals. But before you engage and start talking with those professionals, speak with a HUD-approved housing counseling professional first, and do it early, very early in your search. I think the dividends and the rewards will be very strong. Second, I just want to acknowledge that housing discrimination unfortunately continues to exist in our nation. Housing counseling professionals can also advise you about your fair housing rights and be a resource with you with the Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity at HUD. I want to end on a positive. I want you to have joy in your search for housing.
That's
But I
right.
also want you to know HUD's here as a resource for discrimination issues to challenge and ensure that everyone enjoys equal housing opportunity.
Wonderful. Well, we so appreciate having both of you. Hopefully, many, many more people will know about housing counseling organizations, what HUD is doing, and the value that are rendered from not only from both of your work, essentially, and all of the 1,600 plus organizations that are out there. I'd like to thank my guests for the discussion and especially for our audience for joining me today. For more information on this program, Smart Money Moves, or any other program produced by WHUT, go to WHUT.org. See you next time on Smart Money Moves. And remember, together we can and will make a difference.
This program was produced by WHUT and made possible by contributions from viewers like you. For more information on this program or any other program, please visit our website at WHUT.org. Thank you.